Thank you, Tom. Chairman Kennedy, President Haas, my fellow trustees, faculty members, parents, friends, and graduates, thank you for giving me the honor of speaking to you today and being a part of this great day at Grand Valley State University. Congratulations to Chris Panopoulos, who was my neighbor growing up, and to Corey Jackson. And of course, to all the graduates, congratulations, you made it. Yes, you should be proud. I think it's an accomplishment just surviving those long walks between buildings in February. Thank goodness for the coffee stand at Kirchhoff. Now, I didn't attend Grand Valley, but I am celebrating a Laker milestone. This month, I complete my second term as a member of Grand Valley's Board of Trustees. It's sort of a graduation, you might say, although it's taken me 12 years. During these dozen years, I've watched Grand Valley achieve many significant milestones, including the opening of the Seidman Center, the Kinsey Hall of Science. Enrollment has grown to over 25,000 students. And just last year, the 100,000th student graduated from Grand Valley. Achievements like these take a lot of hard work and many important choices made by Grand Valley faculty, staff, and the Board of Trustees. But now it's your turn to make important choices. Of course, the first choice is, what do you do next? Many of you have jobs lined up. Others are going on for more education. Some of you may be starting your own business. Others may be taking a year off. How you live those choices, it seems to me, is what's important. That's why this talk is not called Living with Choices, but Living the Choices. That single word can make a big difference. I think there are three different kinds of choices: good ones, bad ones, and the ones that other people make for us. Let's start with the last one. When we're young, we don't have a lot of choice. Our parents choose our clothes, what time we go to bed, how we're supposed to act at our crazy Aunt Ada's house. Choices other people make on our behalf can be challenging. When I started school in the 1960s, my family lived in an affluent neighborhood in East Grand Rapids. But my parents sent me to a school in Grand Rapids called Eastern Orthopedic. Back then, this is where students with disabilities were sent. We were segregated back then. At Eastern Orthopedic, kindergarten through 12th grade students were in the same building, but the classes were separate. Kids with disabilities on one floor, able-bodied on the other. The playground was divided by a chain-link fence. Regular kids on one side, disabled kids on the other. To top it off, the academics were not that good, something that would cause me trouble later on. But two great things happened to me at Eastern Orthopedic. One, I met my best friend, Kathy. We met in third grade. She had a great sense of humor. We played together, went to each other's houses. We had two other close friends, and the four of us were a force to be reckoned with. The other positive thing was that I met people from backgrounds far different from mine. It was a real eye-opener, and it helped me to appreciate difference, to value different perspectives and ideas. It shaped who I am today. So the best part of my early education was not what I learned in books, but what I learned about people. Had I gone to school in East Grand Rapids, all of my friends would have looked the same, come from the same background. Instead, they were Black, Native American, white, rich, poor, from all parts of the city and outside. At times, you'll find yourself in a situation that was not your choice. Your job, your family or friends, someone or something will require you to be someplace you didn't expect, to deal with people you never met. Remember, it can be a great gift to meet people who are unlike you. Eventually, we get to make our own choices, and that inevitably leads to bad ones. I've made a few. After I graduated from high school, I went to Aquinas College. That's when my elementary and high school years came back to haunt me. Eastern Orthopedic had chronically low expectations for kids with disabilities, and we were never pushed to excel. Study skills, not so much. Going off to college with the excitement of being out on my own, well, you can only imagine what happened. By midterm of my sophomore year, I was on academic probation. My parents saw this as a bad choice on my part. And while I could blame the school for not preparing me well enough, in the end it was the choices that I made or didn't make that landed me on what you might call the other dean's list. Part of the problem was I didn't know what to major in. I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. Then I took a class in sociology. The professor was awesome. I know you know this, when you get a good one, you know it. The subject really appealed to me. Wondering why people do what they do, how society influences people, these questions fascinated me, and they still do. So I went into social work. A good choice, I thought, until one day during an internship with the district court, I was a pre-sentence investigator, a person who recommends to judges what sentences should be handed down to people who were convicted for prostitution, DUIs, and other crimes. I didn't have what you call a lot of experience in that area. I mean, I was 20 years old, and when the college suggested this internship, all I knew was that it sounded interesting, so I said, I'll do it. The process began when a person was arrested. Eventually, they'd have to come and talk to me, tell me their story and history, and talk about their future. Then I had to do a lot of follow-up, make calls to people to verify information, and then make a recommendation to the judge that said, I believe this is what should happen to this person, and explain why. I took this responsibility seriously, so when I went into the courtroom for the first time, I'd done my homework and prepared the best I knew how. During my presentation to the judge, he started interrupting, asking questions, a lot of questions, some of which I did not know the answer to. I found myself saying, I don't know, I'm not sure, to a lot of these questions, which was scary and intimidating. But as bad as it was, the judge was teaching me. He was not only telling me that I wasn't prepared, he was also telling me how to prepare. Sent me back to the drawing board. That was an important lesson, as difficult as it was at the time. The fact is, sometimes you don't know what you don't know until somebody tells you. It's also true that it's okay to say you don't know the answer to something, but you'll find it. This is where a mentor can help. Not only can you pick their brains, but you can learn from their dubious choices. So you don't have to make those choices yourself. A mentoring relationship doesn't have to be a formal one. There's a lot you can learn informally. I've come across so many people in my life that are impressive for different reasons. They're smart or well-spoken, kind or diplomatic. They have some quality that I admire that I would somehow like to acquire. That's when I just try to keep my mouth shut and let them talk, because hopefully I can learn something. It's really hard to make a bad choice with a mentor. Even a bad one teaches you something. The only risk is that you won't make the effort to find a mentor. You won't put your work out there to be judged, which really means putting yourself out there. When you consider mentors, work experiences, and jobs, I encourage you to make ambitious choices and embrace them. Be committed. And the only way to be truly committed to something is to be passionate about it. This could mean not taking a job that pays well but isn't what you want to do, but taking a job for less money but makes you excited to go to work in the morning. Don't play it safe. Take some risks. As I look back, I often find that the choices I regret most are the ones I didn't make. The trip I didn't take, the extra project I passed on, the people I didn't reach out to because it wasn't a good time, I was too busy, or whatever. I didn't trust my instincts that it was an opportunity I should take, even if there was risk involved. So I miss seeing new places, spending time with friends and relatives now gone, or taking off for an adventure instead of sitting home, reading my Twitter account or whatever. Make no mistake, good choices are not always the most lucrative ones. Ask any social worker. Your best choices won't necessarily increase your authority or boost your status. They're never the easiest route. They're often the most difficult, but they're also the choices that teach you the most. They're the ones where you have to prove yourself and that turn out to be the most rewarding. They make us better persons, which for all of us is a lifelong project. My mother had a lifelong interest in education. In fact, as you all know, one of the newest buildings in Allendale is named for her, the Mary Ida Pew Learning and Information Commons. I always have a hard time spitting that out. But I understand that most people are enjoying calling it the Mary. I like that. And I think it would please my mother, although she never would have dreamed she would have had a building named for her. That was my father's idea and his way of honoring her and her commitment to education. My mother made some interesting choices of her own. During World War II, she volunteered to serve as a wave in the Naval Reserve and train Navy pilots. After the war, she became one of the first undergraduate female students at Wesleyan University in Connecticut. She would be happy to know the graduating class today includes so many women. She would be proud that the Mary is the first philanthropic building at Grand Valley to be named for a woman. Just 2 years before my mother was born, women finally got the right to vote in this country. In our recent national election, for the first time, a woman was one of the major party candidates. For many people of your generation, this was the first time you had an opportunity to vote for a presidential candidate. But surprisingly, only 43% of eligible voters in our country did not vote in this election. They made other people make the choice. I hope all of you, men and women, voted. But remember that elections don't take place every 4 years, but every year. Local, county, statewide elections give you an opportunity to help choose the officials who govern us, to influence policy that touch practically every aspect of our lives. So I encourage you to choose to be involved, understand the issues, write your elected officials, take an hour to attend a city council meeting, listen to others, and take part in an open, respectful dialogue. Keep in mind that being involved and passionate about issues doesn't mean that your ideas, political, religious, or otherwise, are the only valid ones. Contrary to the tone of the current election, people on opposite sides really can work together. I was appointed to Grand Valley's board by a Democrat governor and reappointed by a Republican governor. I believe that one reason is because I can work with different people, and I hope you can too. So understand and appreciate differences. Live your choices, the good ones, the bad ones, even the ones made for you. Be grateful for the times when those choices put you in challenging situations. Don't worry, you'll handle it just fine. If not, you can use them as examples when it's your turn to give a commencement address. Choose to be involved, to take some risks, to be challenged. That's what makes life not only fascinating, but a whole lot more fun. Congratulations, graduates. Thank you very much.